Welcome back to Under the Tights, powered by the one and only Heroes Comics, right here in Fresno at Shaw and Highway 41. I'm Rash from the Morning Blaze here at 105.1 The Blaze, and today we're going to take a look at the new season of The Flash. There are a few episodes in so far, and this year they're taking kind of a different angle. If you think about the last few seasons of the show, the villain has been kind of a version of the same thing. It's been Barry versus fill-in-the-blank speedster, whether it was Reverse Flash, Zoom, Savitar last year. It's always kind of been the same thing. Who's faster, the bad guy or Barry? Well, this year they're going to go with a different train of thought. See what I did there? With the Thinker as being the villain for Barry Allen. Now, people might think of guys like Reverse Flash as being the main antagonist for the Flash in 2017. And when you read the comic books, he really is. No matter how many times you kill Fawn, he ends up coming back. Time travel. It's a weird thing. He is definitely the guy that comes after the Flash the most often, even in the comic books today. But that wasn't always the case. Way back when, in the 1930s, when the Thinker was developed, he was pretty much the go-to villain for the Flash. Clifford DeVoe was his name, and his origin story is kind of a flip of what you would think of when you think of your standard high school drama. Like, you think about Peter Parker's Spider-Man, right? Peter Parker was the nerd in high school who was picked on by Flash, who was the, not the Flash, Flash Thompson, who was the jock at the high school there, and then he gets superpowers and things kind of flip. Well, with DeVoe, it was kind of the opposite. Oddly enough, his origin story relies heavily on Ronnie Raymond, the original Firestorm, who we haven't seen in the Flash TV show since the end of season 1. More on that in a minute. But his origin is a flip of what I was just saying. He was the jock guy in high school who was picked on by the super popular nerd who was Ronnie Raymond. Weird kind of turn of events, huh? Anyway, he decides that he's going to become a super villain after being a failed criminal defense attorney. He meets all of these criminals through his work in law. He's not very good at his job, and he realizes that, hey, these villains, or these criminals rather, that I'm defending, they're not very good at their jobs either, but they do have certain sets of skills that, if put to use in the right way, might make them successful. So he becomes the brains of the operation, so to speak, develops a hat that he wears that amplifies his intellect, and he starts creating these elaborate crimes for these villains that he met through his time as a criminal defense attorney to carry out, and then the Flash has to stop him. So definitely a different take on what we've seen so far in the Flash TV show. And again, a character that's been around for a really long time, so long that there's actually like 4 different incarnations of the Thinker. The original one that I'm describing to you, Clifford DeVoe, all the way through an artificial intelligence that develops from his thinking cap. It gets deconstructed and turned into an AI, which then goes bad. It's a whole thing. I don't think they're going to go that far in the show. It's just kind of giving you a rundown of how long this character's been around. Back to the Ronnie Raymond part, though. This is something I've been waiting for since the end of season 1 of The Flash, because remember, when Firestorm helped the Flash seal basically the black hole that was going to destroy the city, Firestorm was separated, and although Professor Stein still stayed with the Flash and Team Flash, later to find a new partner to become Firestorm with, Ronnie's body was never found. And with the introduction of the multiverse, you have to assume that he's still somewhere. We just don't know where. I don't think they bring the Thinker into the show knowing what his connection is to the original Firestorm without trying to find a way to bring Ronnie back into the fold. Caitlin obviously is still on the show, so that's going to be something that I think they'll tie back in. Also, just from a showrunner standpoint, interesting to me too that I can't think of the kid's name now that played the bad guy from Harry Potter who was in The Flash last year. Why can't I think of the actor's name? It's going to come to me as soon as I'm done with this video. Also interesting to me that he's not cast again in this season of the show. Love interest for Caitlin, I'm assuming, is once again going to be Ronnie when they find a way to bring him back through the powers of the Thinker. Just something to think about. New books available at Heroes Comics today actually include a new Flash, Flash 33. If you've been reading the Dark Metal series, it's kind of gone through with Batman, all of the skill set of the Batman plus some of the Justice League without all the moral code. That starts unfolding in the world of Flash today as well, with a series they're calling Bat Out of Hell, which opens up. You got a new Green Lantern today. You got a new Amazing Spider-Man, all kinds of new stuff because it's Wednesday. That's when new stuff comes out. So check it out. Heroes Comics, the one and only. It's where I go. It's where you should go too. Shaw and Highway 41. We'll see you next week.